Hi, this is Rachel Israel with STEM News and Global World Report. We have breaking news that will have a huge impact on the global scene in the very near future. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world.
Said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. With Mexico, we have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. You know, off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales. The windmills are driving the whales crazy. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them.
Join me as I dive into the wild idea of Trump wanting to take over Greenland and Canada for security. Let's see if there's any truth to this crazy claim. So, you've probably heard the rumors. Trump wants to take over Greenland and Canada. Sounds like the plot of a bad action movie, right? But as we'll explore in this video, there might be some strategic logic behind this seemingly absurd idea, especially when it comes to national security. The United States faces a multitude of security threats on a daily basis. From cyber attacks to terrorism, the list goes on and on. In this context, acquiring Greenland and Canada could potentially provide the U.S. with a significant strategic advantage. Think about it, both countries offer access to the Arctic region, which is becoming increasingly important for global trade and resource extraction. By controlling this territory, the U.S. could potentially limit the influence of rival nations like Russia and China. Furthermore, having a stronger presence in the North American region could also allow the U.S. to better protect its borders and prevent potential security threats from emerging. It's no secret that the U.S.-Canada border is already highly militarized, but taking control of Canadian territory could provide an additional layer of defense. And let's not forget about Greenland's strategic location, which would provide the U.S. with a significant foothold in the Arctic region. Of course, this is all speculative, and it's impossible to know for certain what Trump's true intentions are. But from a purely strategic perspective, it's not hard to see why acquiring Greenland and Canada could be viewed as a desirable move for the United States. Whether or not this would actually lead to increased security is a different story altogether, but we'll get to that later. Historically, the United States has had a fascination with Greenland, dating back to the early 20th century. In the 1940s, the U.S. even tried to buy the territory from Denmark, but was rebuffed. More recently, there have been tensions between the U.S. and Denmark over issues like missile defense and climate change. It's clear that the U.S. has a vested interest in the region, even if it's not always explicitly stated. Canada, on the other hand, has a long history of being a valued American ally, but there have been tensions in the past over issues like trade and security cooperation. The current geopolitical climate, marked by a rise in nationalism and protectionism, has only added to the uncertainty surrounding the U.S.-Canada relationship. In this context, it's not hard to see why Trump might view taking control of Canadian territory as a way to reassert American dominance. When it comes to expert opinions, there are many who argue that acquiring Greenland and Canada would be a logistical nightmare, not to mention a huge violation of international law. Others argue that it would be a strategic masterstroke, allowing the U.S. to project power and defend its interests more effectively. As with any complex issue, the truth likely lies somewhere in between. One thing is certain, however, if Trump were to actually make a move on Greenland and Canada, it would be a monumental shift in global geopolitics. It would require a massive investment of resources, both military and economic, and would likely spark a heated international backlash. But as we've seen time and time again, Trump is not afraid to take risks and challenge the status quo. So, what do we take away from all of this? At the very least, it's clear that the idea of taking over Greenland and Canada is not as far-fetched as it initially seems. There are valid strategic reasons why the US might view this as a desirable move, even if it's not necessarily the right one. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think Trump's true motives are, and do you think taking over Greenland and Canada would be a good idea? Be sure to check out my other videos for more analysis on international relations and geopolitics.
Well, that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for continually supporting our content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they would find it interesting as well. We're very excited to continue this journey with you. We thank you all for bringing certain stories to our attention, and for continually keeping us updated with certain events around the world.